The skyscrapers in the background and Lake Michigan alongside the racetrack.
NASCAR is coming back to Chicago. A 4th of July weekend festival of music and racing through downtown Chicago's iconic streets.
Well, how's the phone, boys? Gonna be a good one.
The biggest names in music headline the stage, while the brightest stars in NASCAR chase the checkered flag.
That's very cool.
The Chicago Street Race Weekend. For tickets and experiences, visit NASCARChicago.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you from our Tuscaloosa studios. Hope everyone's doing well as the athletic year may have come to a close for Alabama for the most part. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Crimson Tide, we're going to be very busy coming up, talking with some outstanding champions. First of all, Tyler Booker will be joining us to talk about the Bama Standard, the Fueled by Gatorade. We'll have a podcast-style interview coming up with him. And then the NCAA singles champion, Filip Planinsek, will join us as well, talking about his men's tennis singles national championship. And then we'll follow things up by having coach's checklist with the softball team, Patrick Murphy giving his thoughts after Alabama's run in the Women's College World Series came to a close. That's what's coming up on the show today, and that's always sponsored by our friends at RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. They've given us this smart board to go through what's coming up on the show, plus our headlines for today. Speaking of headlines, again, things starting to wind down in terms of Alabama athletics this year, as of course the softball team had that great super regional victory over Tennessee, making it to the Women's College World Series. Unfortunately, the run did come to a close over the weekend, so a tip of the cap to Patrick Murphy and Team 28 for making it all the way to Oklahoma City. What a great run they had. We'll hear from him coming up later in the show. For the baseball team, also the season came to a close over the weekend as Alabama fell on Friday in a really hard-fought back-and-forth game to UCF 8-7, and then blanked by Stetson in the elimination game on Saturday afternoon in Tallahassee. So the Crimson Tide sees its season come to a close, but tip of the cap to Rob Vaughn and the Crimson Tide baseball team, making it to back-to-back regionals for the first time in 10 years, and also for Coach Vaughn just making it to the postseason. His first year in Tuscaloosa, really good standard bearer of what's to come for Alabama. Now this week, track and field is still competing for the University of Alabama, the NCAA championships, going from yesterday through Saturday coming up in Eugene, Oregon. So we'll be keeping an eye on the results. Best of luck to Coach Waters and the track and field team. But everything else starting to wind down here in Tuscaloosa. And again, we are really looking forward to what's coming up this fall with the Crimson Tide football team. And fans that are really thirsty for some football content right now can go online to the Alabama Athletics social media platforms as well as Alabama football social media platforms and watch the Bama Standard. It's fueled by Gatorade. It's a great new series that's going to be coming up over the next few weeks, talking with Crimson Tide football players about really their life away from the field. And we get a chance to have a podcast-style interview with all of those guys. This week's episode focuses on Tyler Booker, who we've been joined before here on this show on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, by Tyler, talking about his life story. But now we'll kind of take you behind the scenes of his episode that debuted on Wednesday. It's the Bama Standard, fueled by Gatorade. And here's our podcast series, starting with Tyler Booker.
The Bama Standard, to me, it just means excellence. Everyday excellence and greatness is expected out of you, so you just have to go out there and perform and show why you belong here. Like every day, you're pretty much doing a job interview.
Welcome back to Bryant-Denny Stadium inside the Advantage Center studios. I'm Roger Hoover, joined by Alabama offensive lineman Tyler Booker, and it's time for the Bama Standard Fueled by Gatorade podcast series. As we just saw, the first episode of the Bama Standard Fueled by Gatorade come out this week. And Tyler Booker, your episode number 1. Just first of all, Roll Tide. How's everything going for you in the Crimson Tide this summer?
Roll Tide to you as well. I've had a great summer. I'm just glad to be back home in T-Town.
It's June. Everybody's antsy for football. So when Alabama football released the Bama Standard Fueled by Gatorade, what was your expectations kind of going into that episode, and what you like about fans getting to see your journey?
I was very excited about this episode just because, like you said, fans are able to see my journey. They usually see my production on the field and everything that but they don't get to see everything that goes into it. So they're really able to see how I really take care of myself health-wise as far as eating, recovery, and what I do to like kind of take my mind away from the game as well. So I'm glad I was able to have the opportunity to show who I am outside, off the field.
Yeah, that really is good to see because when we've joined have you in here before talking on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We talked all about your journey to Alabama and the way you got on the field as a freshman, as a sophomore, and then making that decision to stay with the Crimson Tide coming up for your junior season, and also take on a leadership role. How important is that for you to share why it's important for you to be a leader?
Definitely. I feel like I've just been blessed with that leadership quality. I feel like everybody has the ability to be a leader, but not everybody is as confident when it comes to leading, and you need a different level of confidence, and you need to hold yourself to a certain standard, because as a leader, how am I going to expect something out of you when I don't expect the same thing out of myself? So I just feel like I was blessed with all the intangibles to be a leader. So God gives us some missions to do, and that's the mission he gave me, and I just love it.
Is that especially important when there are a lot of new faces on this team, and especially new coaching staff as well?
Oh, of course. So just being a leader on this team, I was able to bridge the gap between the coaching staff and some of the new players to the culture that's already been established here. So I feel like I'm a liaison for the culture, for the old one, and really bridging the gap between the two. And there were a lot of similarities between our culture and the culture of Coach DeBoer's old school and the way he ran things. And it's really just based off of winning and togetherness.
So the series is called the Bama Standard, fueled by Gatorade. Just when you think about the Bama Standard, what does that mean to you? How can you put that into words?
The Bama Standard, to me, it just means excellence. Every day, excellence and greatness is expected out of you. So you just have to go out there and perform and show why you belong here. Like every day, you're pretty much doing a job interview every single day, and that's a right kind of peer pressure, I like to say, because if you're not good enough, you're gonna be gone.
And that's easy to think about when you're thinking about, okay, football practice or maybe a strength conditioning work, and then obviously football games. But as you showed in this episode, it goes way beyond that, just in the daily maintenance of your body, right?
Oh, for sure. So like you just mentioned strength and conditioning and football staff, but you also have to be in tune with your nutritionist and the training staff as well to make sure you're putting the right things into your body, and also making sure you're taking care of your body after work.
So how does the nutritional staff, we saw Rainey Gerald visit with you in the episode, how do you stay consistent and kind of locked into her plan that she has for you during the summer?
Just having a great relationship with Rainey. Rainey's been here since I've been here, so that's somebody that I really trust, and somebody I can talk to about things besides football and just besides nutrition. Like, we've really built a great relationship, and that's another thing about Alabama. Like, you're going to build a lot of great relationships here, so that's a relationship that's helped me so far.
And, of course, she's in charge of a lot of the menus for when you guys are on campus. But then when you're back at your own home, you have to go to the grocery store. You went to Publix, took us along for that as well. Just what have you learned about the right way to grocery shop and make sure you're getting important fuel like Gatorade and be ready to go for everything that's coming up?
Oh, of course. Just even when I was at home, I was calling Rainey, asking her what I should do. I actually did. So I meal prepped at home. So I asked Rainey what proteins I should get, what vegetables should I get, and what carbs I should get. And then my mom just pretty much cooked it all at once, and then I didn't even have to think about what I was eating. I just went in the refrigerator, warmed up what she meal prepped, and ate that, and that's what led me to lose this weight that I've lost. So I think I'm 330 right now, and I played at 355 this past season. So this weight loss is definitely gonna help me this season.
What was kind of that go-to meal?
So my mom, she would have white jasmine rice. She would have steak and bacon wrapped asparagus. Yeah.
That's really good.
No, yeah, it was really good. It was really good.
Well, that's, I mean, not only tasty, but again, it's very functional for what you guys go through, right?
Oh, of course. That's what made it a whole lot easier. It tasted good. So.
That's really good. And again, that's just kind of a glimpse of the things you guys have to do off the field. Do you try to be a leader too? Make sure your teammates are accountable with their nutrition, knowing how to grocery shop the right way, making sure they're getting enough Gatorade, things like that.
Yes, I have to be a leader in all facets of life for my teammates. It's not just on the field. And that, me being a leader, that starts off the field, because how would you feel if I'm like, what are you doing? You're not doing this. You're not doing that. If you don't have a relationship with me off the field, like, you're just some guy that so happens to go to the same college as me. Like, you're not my brother yet. So that starts off the field. So that's me eating with them, like, just imparting knowledge into them off the field. So when things do get heated on the field, they know, like, okay, he's not just yelling at me to yell at me. Like, this is my brother, and he wants to see me be great.
How important is it, too, just to check in with guys? Maybe over a quick text message, a direct message on social media. Maybe you don't see them as much, every single day during the summer or the spring, but just checking in with guys.
It's super important to check in on your guys, just because you have to show that you care about them as a person and not just as a football player. Because if you just only care about them on the field, that's what they're going to give you. But like that deeper relationship that you build with your teammates, that's when that true cohesion as a team comes.
That's really exciting to see. And how can a football team really use this time of the year to their advantage to be ready to go in the fall?
This time of year for a football team like us, we're using it to really hone in on our technique, but also spend a lot more time together. And like I mentioned last time we spoke, I feel like as the years go by, the closer we get, the better we get. So my freshman year, we were okay with togetherness. Last year, we were a whole lot better, and we had a lot better results. So having Coach DeBoer, who's all about togetherness, all about family, all about really coming together for one common goal, that's with what we want to do, is very crucial. So we're doing a lot more things together as a team outside of football because, like I said, that's where those relationships are built.
What are some things you guys are doing away from the facility?
We're going to be bowling. We have a community service event coming up. I don't want to spoil it, but just be on the radar for that.
That's certainly really good. Coming up in this series as well, I believe Jihad Campbell will be featured, Deontay Lawson, Malachi Mora. What do those guys mean to you?
Those guys mean a lot. I compete against them every day. Well, Jihad, our relationship goes way back. We actually went to high school together. So just knowing him and seeing how much he's grown. But D-Law and Malachi, those guys are a little bit older than me. So I've pretty much learned a lot about how to work and how to carry myself as an Alabama football player from them.
Have you delivered some tough hits on Jihad and Deontay specifically before?
Oh, of course. I try to hit them harder just because, just so whenever they go into a game, they can say, man, you don't hit as hard as Book.
How about Malachi? Any run-ins with him?
Malachi is pretty smart. He's a little bit faster than me. I haven't been able to hit him yet, but I'll definitely be gunning for him during fall camp.
That's certainly exciting. So, again, it's a really great time of the year. Are you able to stay patient, waiting on that for fall practice to begin or the first game of the year? Because, again, you realize this is where you can have a lot of gains and get better before the season begins, or do you just want the games right now?
Yes, of course I want the games right now, but you just have to take advantage of the time you have. You have to, as Coach Dillman from IMG, that's one of my favorite coaches ever, he told me one time, he said, be where your feet are. Like right now, today is Wednesday, June 5th. How am I going to win June 5th to help me win these games later on? So that's how you have to look at it. Don't put the cart before the horse.
That's certainly good. From the last time we talked, you got to go back home to New Haven, Connecticut to host your own football camp. Just how meaningful has it been to get back to your hometown and host this event the last few years?
Being able to host that youth camp in my hometown is very meaningful to me just because other guys who are older than me have held the same events and had a positive impact on me as a person and as a football player. So, for example, Tariq Black, he ended up going to Michigan, and he, I think he's on the Ravens right now, but that's a big brother of mine. We built a strong connection, and being from that New Haven area, not a lot of guys make it out and play football at a high level, and I spoke to him yesterday, and I just thanked him for being that inspiration for me. So if I can be a Tariq for somebody else, I'm definitely going to do that. I feel like the best way to do that is through a camp because then I'm able to have 115 little Tylers in that situation meet their Tariq.
Yeah, I've talked to some football players who have done camps before, and then they become coaches later on. They were like, yeah, it was kind of those youth football camps that got the idea in my head. Did you like the coaching aspect of it?
Oh, yeah, I loved it. I lost my voice about 20 minutes into it, so my parents had to go get me a megaphone, but yeah, I've been around Coach Saban for a while, so the kids walked from one station to another. I was like, nope, send them back. We're running everywhere. So, yeah, it was a great time, and I could definitely see myself having a career in coaching after I'm done playing just because I love the game of football, and I just want to continue to give back to it.
Did you have a straw hat that you were throwing a bunch? Or
Not a straw hat, but I had a visor.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. So, again, it's been a great series of the Bama Standard, fueled by Gatorade. The first episode's out as we're going to be talking with some of your teammates. They're going to be featured as well coming up in the next few episodes. Just, again, to get our fans excited about what's coming up this fall. What should they look forward to? What are you liking most about this team right now?
About this team, I feel like the relationships and the togetherness that we're building. I feel like we're having a whole lot of fun during the workouts. And trust me, these workouts are pretty hard. Coach Ballou is finding new stuff to really push us and get us better. But everybody's doing it with a smile on their face, and everybody's pushing each other, and everybody's bringing somebody with them. And what I mean by that, if they see somebody lagging behind, they're literally bringing somebody with them, arm over arm. So I'm just seeing the togetherness and the bonds that we're building as a team. And it's easy to do that within the first week and a half. But we have to see how long we can do it for the rest of these 6.5 weeks. And I think we're definitely more than capable of doing that. So I'm just excited to continue to grow with this team. And as far as what you guys can expect, you can expect Alabama football to be played.
We love that. Well, we are really excited. Great series of the Bama Standard, again, fueled by Gatorade. Tyler, thank you for being part of it, and we look forward to seeing more from you down the road. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Roll Tide.
NASCAR is taking racing to the next level this 4th of July weekend with the return of the Chicago Street Race. Between experiencing world-class racing through the twists and turns of downtown Chicago's Grant Park To an entertainment-filled weekend with your favorite artists including Keith Urban, the Chainsmokers, the Black Keys, and Lauren Elena, there is something for everyone to enjoy. Don't miss out on your chance to be part of the most talked about event of the summer. Check this once-in-a-lifetime event off your bucket list and lock in your tickets today at NASCARchicago.com. Really fun conversation with Tyler Booker. As we mentioned in that interview, we'll be talking about the Bama Standard Fueled by Gatorade with Malachi Moore, Deontay Lawson coming up, as well as Jahad Campbell. So keep an eye out for that the rest of the month here in June. We go from football to men's tennis, and this season Alabama has a tennis national championship thanks to Filip Planinsek, who picked up a national championship for the Crimson Tide just about 10 days ago in Stillwater, Oklahoma, as he won the singles national championship. A great champion for Alabama. What a tremendous run that had all of Crimson Tide fans really fired up throughout those weeks in Stillwater. So he joins us now to detail his journey, first of all, to Alabama, plus winning the school's first ever tennis national championship. Filip, Roll Tide, congratulations on the national championship. Has it really sunk in yet, the gravity of the championship you won and what it means to Alabama?
Thank you. Yeah, I think now it actually sunk in. I've been back home for a week. Been busy practicing back again, and yeah, now actually I'm not realizing what I've done. I mean, 10 days ago, I think, and I mean it's great. It means a lot. It means a lot to the program. My goal is to bring the Alabama tennis program on the map, so we can compete for a national title, so we can be one of the best teams in college tennis, and I'll do anything I can.
Yeah, we'll catch up on how you were able to win this national championship in the last few weeks, but I want to go back to the start with you for a moment. Growing up in Slovenia, when was the first time you picked up a tennis racket, and what kind of made it your sport?
So I was about 6, 7 years old. I have tennis courts about 30 seconds in walking distance from my house, so it's actually on the end of the road. And I just my parents they just sent me for like a summer camp that's being held every year at this local tennis club. So yeah, I mean, I was 6, 7 years old. I started playing tennis just a little bit, and then I was like 9, 10. I started playing more competitively. I started playing some Slovenian tournaments, and yeah, since then I'm just in love with the game.
In love with the game. Who were some of the early teachers that helped you out the most and allowed you to kind of get on this path towards college and eventually pro tennis?
I would say the local club called JTK Maribor. That's where I started. But then since I've been 14 until now, I'm still working with the same coaches. Luka and Tony Hasdovac. They've been my coaches since I was 14 years old. I think it was ninth grade or something. I basically like moved to this other club. It's like 20 minutes away from my home. So it's been challenging for my parents to drive me every day and pick me up every day from the practice, but now since I have my own car, it's easier.
That's certainly good. When did playing in America and specifically playing college tennis get on your radar? When did you start thinking about that?
There's been a guy who played at Baylor, Sven Lach. He was practicing with me. I'm a good friend with him. He kind of started introducing me to college tennis when I was like 15, 16 years old, and after that, I just yeah, I said like I want to do that, and I mean, he explained everything to me. He explained how college tennis works. He explained the benefits, what I can gain from being part of the collegiate team. So I said, yeah, I want to do that.
And then when did Alabama factor into the mix? So what can you tell us about your recruiting story?
That's actually a funny story. I was supposed to go to Minnesota. There was a Slovenian assistant coach, and I've been there for a visit at Minnesota. I think it was 2020 or in 2019 November. I was supposed to go 2020 in the fall, and then the COVID happened. They cut the program. I asked the coaches there, "Can you guys help me find a new school?" I'm like, I don't know where to go. So they recommended Alabama. I spoke to Dean, I spoke to George, and I committed like in a couple days. So
Yeah, only a couple days. Never had a chance to come here, right? Before you made that decision.
yeah, I've never been to Alabama before my freshman year. Before I came in the summer for a summer training, never even like saw any. I mean, I've seen the facilities on the internet, and George sent me a couple of videos, but that's all.
Did you ever grow up seeing Alabama football very much or hearing about, Crimson Tide, anything before that?
No, I didn't know anything about American football. I didn't even know the rules before I went to the first game, so that's kind of funny.
So with that, what was it like once you did arrive here in Tuscaloosa and started being part of this campus and this university and getting to know some other athletes from some other sports?
I mean, Alabama I just love Alabama. Like, I'm just in love with the place. I like the institution. I like the staff. I like other people. Everyone's so friendly. They help me grow as a person, and coaches as well. They help me grow as a player. For me, that was one requirement before I went to college. I wanted to grow as a person. I wanted to become a better person. I wanted to become a better competitor in tennis, and Alabama gave me all that, and I'll be forever thankful for that.
And your freshman year, you had a lot of success. You were named the 2022 SEC Freshman of the Year. What do you feel like allowed you to get off to such a good start in your collegiate career?
I was determined. I came to Alabama with a goal. I wanted to become a better player. I wanted to improve my tennis level, and I was ready to work hard. I was ready to work hard. I came here in the summer. I worked hard for 2 months. We all did. The freshmen that came in, and we just stayed on the grid. My goal is to be a professional tennis player, and I came with the goal to to college. I said I'll do everything I can to use the resources, to use the facilities Alabama's providing, to become better, and that's what I did. So yeah, I had a great freshman year, I have to say.
You have, and again, a great 3 years wearing the Crimson for Alabama, some great team success along with the individual success you've had. Who are some of the teammates that have pushed you the most? Maybe it's not even one of your doubles partners, but somebody that's really helped sharpen your game over the last few years.
Yeah, I would say that the guys that we came in together, we came like it was I think 6 new guys that came that year. Zach and Enzo definitely helped me a lot. We stayed together now for 3 years, and then Joao, my very good friend, he also played on the team as well from Brazil. He helped me a lot. Yeah, but Zach and Enzo, we continued to push each other. We have one more season together, and I just want to win a team national championship.
And how about the coaching you've received from George? What's he meant to you?
Just I cannot thank him enough. I cannot thank him enough to give me the opportunity to play for Alabama, to play for such a great institution, to the other coaches, to Easy that got the UAB head coach last year, Siba and Dimi. They just all helped me so much to grow as a person, to grow as a player, to develop my game, to recognize what are my strengths in the court, what are my strengths off the court, and it's just moments that I'll never forget.
So this past year, you get through the SEC schedule, you get ready for the NCAA tournament run, both as a team and as an individual. How are you feeling about your game going into what became a legendary run towards a national championship?
Yeah, I knew that I was building my game. I had some ups and downs in the season. I started the season pretty good. I had some great results, played internationals, had some recognizable wins in college tennis. And then when we were approaching the end of the season, I knew that I have to push as much as I can. I knew that this is the final push of the season, and I played really good at Duke actually when we played Duke, and then I start building my game. I start playing better and better, and these past 2 weeks, the 2 weeks that we were been practicing for NCAs, I made my own plan the week before. I said I want to do that. I want to do that. That's gonna help me at NCAs, and I was just determined, and I just never stepped off the pedal for gas.
Yeah, and you kept getting win after win, and you beat a lot of really talented ranked players. How meaningful was that run leading up to the championship game?
Yeah, it's hard to describe. Those are guys that are now already one of the best guys, the young guys. They're coming on tour. Those are the guys that are on top of college tennis. College tennis is a really high level, really high level of tennis, and I think those guys are going to be really good in professional tour. And yeah, I mean, I just played my game, and I just kept winning.
You kept winning. You did lose set one in the championship match against Michael Zhang. How'd you bounce back from that? Especially, I know it was really frustrating you through your racket, which really doesn't happen much for you, but you bounce back, win the next two sets.
Yeah, I was kind of frustrated. I had three set points in a row when I was up 5-4 in the first set. Uh, I made probably one of the stupidest mistakes I probably can make in tennis. I went like too hard down the line. I missed it by a mile. But yeah, I just said, look, I need to just stay focused. I need to let my frustrations go. I can be pissed. That's fine, as long as I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm not sure if I took a toilet break, but at least I know that I told myself like it's not over. It's just one set. He needs to win one more. I need to win two more. I just need to keep going, and that's what I did.
Certainly did. A great moment when you win. What was it like, that celebration? Not only with people that were there with you in Stillwater from Alabama, but also once you started hearing online, maybe from Alabama fans, other coaches, and some of your fellow student athletes on campus. How meaningful was that?
It was just amazing. I mean, I've never received so many messages in my life. I've never received so many new followers on Instagram. I just suddenly became like attraction. I was in a spotlight. I've never experienced that in my life. It was something new. It was just great. It was just great that people were following me, that people were watching, that people were watching that to see that Alabama can be one of the best programs on in college tennis. That's my goal, to bring Alabama there. And yeah, it was just amazing. I mean, I came home. There's so many people that wanted to see me. There's so many people that want to like celebrate with like home parties with cakes and everything. And it was just a busy 2 weeks.
And how does that fire up for what's coming up next year, your senior year, and what this Alabama tennis program is capable of?
Yeah, I'm not coming back in the fall. I'm gonna play professional tournaments until January. I received 6 wild cards for challengers, and that I'm definitely certainly gonna use. But yeah, I'm 100% coming back in spring, no matter how good I do on Pro Tour. Even if I do really good, I want to come back to Alabama in spring, and I want to win a national championship.
Yeah, what are some of the events that are coming up on your calendar, looking at this summer and then into the fall in January?
Uh, Right now, I'm in the base of practicing on clay. I'm still like in a pre-season, mid-season type of thing. I have our first tournament scheduled on July 1st. I'm gonna play 3 in a row in Slovenia. That's 15Ks, and then we'll start to combining challengers and 25Ks as well. Uh, and then I'll be back in Bama in October, I think, for a football game. That's still not been yet confirmed, but that's the overall plan for now.
Well, we look forward to seeing you and again celebrating this national championship that you've won for the University of Alabama. Filip, thank you so much for your time joining us this week on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Best of luck in your events, and we can't wait to see you back here in Tuscaloosa soon. But thank you for your time. Roll Tide.
Thank you. Roll Tide.
NASCAR is coming back to Chicago.
Gonna be a good one.
The biggest names in music headline the stage, while the brightest stars in NASCAR chase the checkered flag. The Chicago Street Race Weekend. For tickets and experiences, visit NASCARchicago.com.
You know, when Filip won that national championship a few weeks ago, the Alabama softball team was taking on Tennessee in the NCAA Super Regional, and Patrick Murphy is in-game interview in Game 3. The first person he mentioned was Filip and that national championship for Alabama. So, perfect segue going to the Crimson Tide softball team. Obviously, the memorable run that Alabama had, winning the regional here in Tuscaloosa, the Super Regional in Knoxville, and making it to the program's 15th appearance in the Women's College World Series. Unfortunately, the run for the Crimson Tide came to a close this past Sunday, but after that final game was complete at the Women's College World Series, it was Patrick Murphy meeting with the media for one final time this year. Here is coach's checklist from the head coach of the Crimson Tide softball team, Patrick Murphy.
You know, I just told the team, I tried to think of a good analogy for this group. And, you know, when you watch a show or a TV show, and probably a lot of you have seen Lucille Ball. Maybe not. Maybe nobody has seen it. But there's a scene where they're crushing grapes and they're trying to make wine. And they get to the bottom of the barrel and they have all these grapes they're done. And they have got every single ounce of juice out of those grapes. And that's it. And that is this team. They squeezed every single ounce of being a great teammate, being great leaders, being great reps of the University of Alabama, worked their butts off, and they got here beyond anything that I could ever imagine. and it's been one of the most enjoyable teams to coach in my career. I think everybody can. It started with football, and they lost to Texas, and they had a lousy game against South Florida, and then they just kept getting better and better and better. And I love being a spring sport because I get to learn from the fall sports. And then here comes basketball, and they had a couple rough outings, and then they pull it together, and nobody thought that they could get to the Final Four. And Nate Oates takes his team for the first time ever, Alabama basketball, to the Final Four. And I'm looking back thinking, we can do that. We can do the same thing. And any coach that has a rough start or a rough go or whatever, you don't give up on a team. You don't give up on anybody. And you said, you heard them, they did not give up on each other. Nobody quit. Everybody kept working. And it started to kind of reveal itself a little bit. We played better. And then Rhodes magic for regionals. And then, you saw what happened in super regionals. And I thought we played really well down the stretch. And it's a team whose legacy is going to be, they did not give up on each other. They kept working. It doesn't matter what you do, regular season, you get a whole new start and you can start fresh. And I think they proved to everybody that, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. A great lesson for a lot of teams. I think it was a good relationship building year because, somebody knew. And, at the end of the game, I think we had 5 sophomores in the lineup. So we're a young team still. And the more that they learn from him, he learns from them, the relationship, because you cannot automate a relationship. You can go to Panera and it's automated order. You cannot automate relationships. So you cannot do that. So it's going to start one-on-one. And I thought he did a good job of that early in the fall, but it's just, you got to build that trust with a hitter because everybody's different. Their approaches are different, their mental games are different, and you got to learn. We had 16, so he's got to learn 16 different people, different personalities, what makes them go. You got to learn what motivates them, and that's just going to keep getting better and better and better.
The Chicago Street Race Weekend is the can't-miss event of the summer. Don't miss out on the opportunity to witness the thrill of NASCAR stock cars battling for the checkered flag through the iconic streets of downtown Chicago, July 6th and 7th. Lock in your tickets today at NASCARchicago.com.
Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Huge thank you to the guests that we've had, Filip Planinsek, as well as, of course, at the top of the show, Tyler Booker. And as we start to take a look at what's coming up here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, it's time for the Wickles Weekend Update, brought to you by Wickles Pickles. They are wickedly delicious. Find them online at WicklesPickles.com. We do have some programming coming up on the Crimson Tide Sports Network and Alabama Athletics social media platforms coming up next week. Coming up on Wednesday will be the next edition of the Bama Standard, again fueled by Gatorade, and that'll focus on Alabama defensive back Malachi Moore. We'll have that podcast style interview with him inside the episode coming up on next week's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. So take a look for that coming up here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and make sure you follow Alabama football on social media plus Alabama Athletics on YouTube for that episode that's coming up. The Bama Standard, fueled by Gatorade, coming up on Wednesday with Malachi Moore. So next week we look forward to having Malachi on the show, as well as some other special guests talking all things Crimson Tide athletics. But that is going to wrap up, again, this edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Thanks to Ethan Carabin, our video producer, put this entire show together. Thanks to all of you for watching as well. For the Crimson Tide Sports Network, I'm Roger Hoover saying thank you for watching Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Have a great weekend and roll Tide.